Lilith and Gemini and the power of cognitive dissonance. Hi everyone, welcome to I've Karina TV channel. I wanted to make this quick video on Lilith and Gemini showing up in the Oscar slap. And this is more of a demonstration of Lilith when she is in her midst of chaos, rising through the three levels into the alpha state of awareness. So on my channel I've spoken about Lilith in her highest state, and now that I have better verbiage to describe it, what it really is when Lilith is at her highest is Lilith in her alpha state. And this is Lilith who is conscious of all of her own inner demons, right? Because she is demonic in her own right, and is hurt and utilizes her demons for truth and empowering the world. Now Lilith has been a Gemini for a long time and will be moving into Cancer very soon. But before she does, this is an incredible act to show you Lilith in Gemini and the chaos of scandal, gossip, as well as trauma-based attraction. So let's cut right to Lilith in her alpha state, shall we? In her alpha state, we're able to see both sides of the situation, right? Because Lilith in her alpha state wants to bring the highest truth. And that means that you're able to hear both sides of a story. You're able to hear two people's truths or various people's truths and be able to remain stable and remain in the goddess-like space of comprehension, understanding. Okay, so if you're able to look at Chris Rock and see that he has had a career, a successful career, and was positioning himself to continue with that successful career with his same old jokes, and you'll see the victim or the side of the story of Jada, right? And you'll also see the side of the story of Will, who both are very exemplary, up until now, especially over the past year, of showing the darker side of Lilith. And I think that they've done it in a way in which they maintained a sense of prestige, from my opinion. It's up to you if you don't see that. But the overall idea here is that Lilith in her most chaos shows the gossip, shows the slander. Lilith in her secondary chaos shows insecurity. And you'll discover that Jada and Will being in this space of gossip and slander emanates insecurity in this situation. And so for the people who are watching it, they feel powerful as Lilith becomes alpha and Will takes the stance against the slander and the gossip and the jokes. Okay, so that's Lilith shining to her alpha state. Now, Chris Rock is doing it in a goddess way as well, expressing Lilith, but it's important to see that it's actually Will Smith who has Gemini rising, right? So Lilith is on his rising, and you're going to see probably a little bit more of Lilith trying to stand and show herself through Will, because he has Gemini right on his forefront, so we all see it. But what's really interesting, me learning more about Chris Rock and his past, is that Lilith evokes the trickster, right, of the jokester, the power of jokes. See, the power of jokes can make you feel really good about yourself, and that makes it really powerful. And also what's dangerous about jokes is that it makes you feel really good about yourself. This is Lilith rising in chaos through Chris Rock, because you will see that he has utilized jokes to help certain people feel very powerful, but in this situation it just didn't land very well. And you can see that the concept the self-concept in Jada, whether she was acting or not, was being demonstrated as insecure, which created the joke to be very dangerous towards that, right? It created a environment for the joke to land not so well. Okay, but the thing that we don't see about the jokester, the trickster, is that quite often they have utilized jokes in their life to help protect them and help them survive, or as a survival gift in very traumatic times. And so Chris Rock has experienced, some pretty traumatic things as a kid, and developed, probably from his career, this kind of superhero vibe when it comes to being a comedian, only solely in his comedian career. He has become so good at it because of the way that jokes help to transcend you past trauma, helping him to feel superior when he was a child in inferior moments, right? So this is a bottling up and coming to the surface for Chris Rock as well. A moment where his childlike self is meeting his old bully. And so this too, the jokester vibe, right, is the chaos of Lilith. And the moment of insecurity is being hit by Will Smith, right? So he basically attracted an old version of himself back to himself because the joke itself dissipated, so it didn't armor him, right? It didn't armor him like it once did, because he's now in the insecurity stage of Lilith in Gemini at this very point. And so it's important that you guys see how the astrology is always matching us and showing us its truths, right? And so Chris Rock's truth comes out after the fact. We hear more about his story. You also, I naturally picked up on the hypocrisy and recognized Chris Rock's hypocrisy, right? That's also very Lilith and Gemini, right? It's the double-sided lies, right? So you see that he created hair documentaries, good hair documentary, but was not able to kind of stand and fulfill his own work. Which questions, was it even his work to begin with? Or, it just brings up a lot of questions, but these questions are beautiful because that's what helps Lilith to rise in Gemini to her alpha state, her most conscious state, which is the truth emanating out of Chris Rock, which is the horror that he faced as a child and how he attracted his own bully back, a new version of a bully. And for his own self-concept to become clear and to become in Lilith's Gemini alpha state, he has to recognize how he has attracted this situation as well. So, we have to always look at where it is that we stand in the spectrum of Lilith, because until you reach alpha state, you will feel chaotic. And there's nothing wrong with feeling chaotic. People produce beautiful things out of chaos, as you can see, and entertaining things even. But if you really want to transcend Lilith and be in that space of incredible understanding in Gemini, then you have to be able to see all sides of the story and be able to stand in the middle of it with the truth of everyone, the real truth that you see with everyone. So this, I think, was a great example of that. And you guys know me, I have a conspiracy mind, so I've definitely written in my own conspiracy version of this, which I would love for you to check out if you're interested in that stuff. But if it's not staged, then this is also showing the power of the people to come to their own truths through their own modalities. So whether it's psychology, sociology, conversations, right? These messages, text messages, debates, these are all Gemini attributes, and Lilith is the chaos that you see, right? Lilith is creating the chaos, so everyone is pushing themselves into these tiers. Either they're absolutely just embracing the chaos, right? That's Lilith in their darkest, or they're dealing with their own insecurities, because a lot of people are going to trauma bond to this situation. That's Lilith in her medium state. She's jumping medium. So she's recognizing the chaos and wants to turn the turbulence into peace. So she goes and starts to feel the trauma, right? So there's certain people who vibrate to the trauma first, and they don't feel the chaos. They just go into the trauma, and they'll feel like Will, who was put in positions, maybe even of privilege, but was still demeaned in his own right, still felt inferior in his own right. And Chris Rock, who also had very traumatic and uncomfortable things that happened to him as a child, which is your most inferior state. And so certain people may identify with Chris Rock because as a child they were the ones who were bullied, hit, joked on, and beaten, right? So you'll hear a lot of people are saying, if I was Chris Rock, I would never let him just sit there and hit me. Or if Chris Rock was The Rock, right, Will Smith would never hit him, right? So people are creating these scenarios to make Chris Rock look like somebody who is more superior, right? Recognizing that they're trauma bonding with the inferiority of Chris Rock and how he attracts that. And so even through jokes, you can see that jokes can either make you feel great about yourself and it's amazing, or it can make you feel great about yourself and it's dangerous because of how the jokes itself is vibrating to still a sense of inferiority. And so it's not in Chris Rock's side of things, I mean for both of them, but especially for Chris Rock, for you to see the truth of Lilith in her alpha state just by this occurrence. It takes seeking the truth, it takes asking questions, choosing to stand in his shoes and choosing to stand in Will Smith's shoes. This is the space of emanation that Lilith goes through. Lilith in her alpha state creates the need to go a little bit further, right, than the circumstance and the occurrence that she's reacting to. And always remembering that Lilith, how she reacts is telling of what state she's in. So if she reacts in a chaos state, that's telling that she's in her lowest, darkest goddess state, which creates all types of demonic energy and is allowed to do so. And then you have the secondary state in which she attracts dominance to her inferiority. This is always going to be the case because Lilith is dark feminine goddess. So she will, when she's rising, she will be first inferior in the toxic ways that the feminine feels inferior, and then in her ascendance into alpha state, she's still feminine, but she's awakened through not by delivery of something, but by seeking truth internally and waking up to the truth of things. And in Gemini, truth is the key here. And you can't really find it with your eyes. You can't really find it in the conversations too much unless you're really sitting back and listening to the conversations. Lilith is the alpha listener here in Gemini and can discover how she can remain stable, right, amongst the chaos when she sees herself in everyone and sees how she can bond with everyone through their victim, through their chaos, and through their truths. So it's the truth that brings the truest peace here with Lilith and Gemini, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you very soon. Peace and love.